Hello and welcome to Parents Guide to Games. My name is Stefan. If you please like, share, and subscribe. Here are the games coming up October 5th, 2021.
The first game on today's list is Alan Wake Remastered. This is coming on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: blood, language, use of alcohol and tobacco, and violence. This is a third-person shooter in which players assume the role of a writer named Alan Wake, who searches for his missing wife in a mysterious lakeside town. Players explore the town and surrounding woods, interact with characters, solve puzzles, and gather clues along the way. Players must battle humanoid enemies known as the Taken by using various light sources. They can also use pistols, shotguns to kill enemies. The Taken react to damage by disappearing in flashes of embers and shadows. Cutscenes also depict the Taken wielding axes and killing characters off-screen. In one sequence, a long, blooded trail can be seen leading up to the wounded character in a cabin. Some characters smoke cigarettes and reference alcohol and hangovers. One cutscene depicts two drunken characters slurring their speech. Swear words can be heard in the dialogue. The next game on our list is Hell Let Loose. This is coming on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. The rating is mature. The content descriptions: blood and gore and violence. This is a first-person shooter in which players fight to the death across the western front of World War II. Players use pistols, machine guns, sniper rifles, and explosions to kill enemy soldiers in realistic combat. When in close proximity, players are able to stab enemy soldiers in the chest, fighting and occasionally frantic, although players generally hunt down enemies over various environments. Combat is highlighted by screams of pain, blood splatter effects, and explosions. Some weapons and explosions cause enemies to explode into body parts and blood. A handful of sequences depict dismembered or mutilated corpses lying in pools of blood. Now let's take a look at Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. This is coming on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The rating is everyone 10 and up. The content descriptions: cartoon violence and comic mischief. This is a platform fighter game in which players compete in brawls with characters from a variety of Nickelodeon shows. Players use punches, kicks, and special attacks to knock opponents off platform levels. Combat is often frantic, accompanied by impact sounds, colorful light bursts, and screen shaking effects. A handful of characters can perform comical attack moves against opponents. Next up is Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. This is coming on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The rating is everyone 10 and up. The content descriptions: cartoon violence. This is an action platformer game in which players control a monkey on a quest to retrieve stolen bananas from a villain. As players roll through each stage, they avoid traps and pitfalls, collect bananas, and complete various party games against other players and characters. One party game, players shoot at incoming enemy ships in first-person perspective. A monkey dogfight minigame allows players to fire pineapple missiles and cartoony bullets at other characters. Explosions, cries of pain, and screen-shaking effects are highlighted in the action. Now let's take a look at Far Cry 6. This is coming on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Google Stadia, and PC. The rating is mature. The content descriptions: blood and gore, intense violence, sexual themes, strong language, use of drugs and alcohol. This is a first-person shooter in which players assume the role of a resistance fighter battling a tyrannical regime on the fictional island of Yara. As players engage in a variety of combat missions, they use firearms, grenades, and flamethrowers to kill enemy soldiers and assassinate high-ranking military targets. Combat can be frantic and frequent screams of pain, explosions, gunfire, and blood splatter effects. Stealth attacks can be resulting in enemies being viciously stabbed and slashed close up. Cutscenes depict further instances of violence: bound and cuffed characters being beaten, kicked, and/or shot, characters executed by gunfire, a man cutting his own throat with a knife. A handful of sequences depict dismembered corpses and several limbs in amidst of pools of blood. The game contains some suggestive material and sexual material. A soldier role-playing with a fully clothed sex worker. During one sequence, player characters are seen drinking alcohol as the screen gets distorted. A handful of sequences depict drug packages or contain dialogue referencing cocaine and opium. One sequence depicts a man snorting a drug in the distance. Swear words appear in the dialogue. Next game on our list is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. This is coming on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The rating is mature. The content descriptions: blood, strong language, suggestive themes, and violence. This is a visual novel in which players assume the role of a high school student who joins a school literature club and attempts to become a character's boyfriend. As players progress through the story, they can interact with one of the 4 female students, making various dialogue and action choices. Some interactions contain dark thematic elements and instances of violence. A girl depicted with red cutty marks on her arm, a girl hanging from a rope, a character stabbing herself repeatedly with a knife, resulting in blood splatter effects. The game contains some suggestive material, and the text or dialogue swear words appear in the game. The last game on today's list is Metroid Dread. This game on Nintendo Switch. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: fantasy violence and animated blood. Guide Samus Aurora, an intergalactic bounty hunter raised by an ancient tribe and travelers of many environments to a dangerous world. Parkour over obstacles, slide through tight spaces, counter enemies, and battle your way through the planet. Through their countless missions, Samus has never expected a threat like the dread of ZDR. Gain abilities and return to previous areas to find new areas and hidden upgrades in the classic Metroid gameplay. Planet ZDR sprawling map is home to many secrets to discover and powers you will find. You will need to prepare to invade and destroy EMMI robots and overcome the dreaded plaguing ZDR. Thank you to bensound.com for the music track. Please follow Parents Guide to Games on YouTube at Parents Guide to Games, on Facebook at Parents Guide to Games, on Twitter at ParentsG2G, and email any questions or concerns at parentsg2g@gmail.com. And always, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.